Okay, good evening, or should I say good morning to all you fellow TIs out there. This is a video of doing a overview as far as every tip that I've gone over on the channel. Just more of a collaboration of all the tactics that have been used to use against the RNM, monitoring in both RNM manipulation. Now, Steam disrupts RNM, if you don't know, and I don't know if that's detecting my pendant or if that's just messing with the meter or not. I don't know. Anyway, Steam disrupts RNM. As far as the recipe for dealing with Margellans, it's seaweed, brown rice, iodized sea salt, but I guess you could still use regular sea salt, from what some people have said. I don't know, but the recipe I was given was definitely iodized sea salt, so it's best to get that as well. If you can't find it already mixed, sea salt with iodine, then what you can do is get some, get a thing of sea salt, and then find some regular salt that has iodine, mix the two together, and then you're good to go. There's that. Also, there is, they're definitely messing with the meter right now. And I'm glad I'm recording this with the thing going off as well. Wow. Crazy. There's that, and there's also, they're definitely messing with this meter a lot. Holy mackerel. Anyway, there's that. There's also the Rife frequencies as well. The Rife frequencies, you got to understand, the Rife frequencies for fungi, it really helps to get rid of the fungus that is used with Margellans. A lot of this fungus is very, very close to Candida. Candida is another type of fungus that they use on you, that they expose you to for these nano to try to what they'll use is they'll connect with this in order for them to make a web. It's how they grow. There's that, as well as the bots that they also send down for it from the vape trails, as we all know. It's also, if you want to prove Magellan exists, all you got to do is get a cup of rainwater and put it in the microwave. Now, you need to understand, from the phones, the microwaves, the cell phone towers, they all use non-iodized type radiation. This is how this stuff works. So it's no coincidence that when we got the smartphones first came out, that they started using non-iodized radiation at the same time we're being sprayed down with this Magellan shit, right? There can't be no coincidence on that one. So if you want to prove this exists, just go ahead and get a cup of rainwater. Preferably maybe right after a vape trail or something, just like film the location that a vape trail was there. Then get a cup, get a brand new cup, get some rainwater, then put that under, put that under in a microwave for a bit, and then put that underneath the microscope. And what you will see is, you'll see the metamorphosis of the substances in that water start to move. You'll see that the stuff that was being used to make it look like vapor is actually mutating into something quite different. I've already linked a video to a researcher who did the biology on this, if you haven't seen it already. She showed the metamorphosis stage of all of this, even when she moved. She even documented it down that she, like, no matter where she was moving, it was the same thing everywhere. It was the exact same thing. Understand, they hire and pay people to actually jump into this conversation, mainly for deflection purposes. When they tell you it's nothing but vapor in there, they are paid to do that. I understand that they are paying gang stalkers to stalk you, just as well as they're paying people on social media to discredit any evidence that would link remote neural monitoring, remote manipulation to Margellans. As far as the vape trails, you got to understand, all of that stuff is interconnected, every bit of it. Margellans is getting in our food, in our drinking water, in our bathing water, and this is something that's exposed to both the kids, the adults, the parents, and the elderly. Even our animals are exposed to this. Our pets. It's crazy. Other than that, let's see. There's the right frequencies that's used, as I mentioned, for you know, the fungi. There's also some right frequencies for blood flow. I would also recommend people to take vitamins to help build red blood cell production in their bodies. Iron is very good for that, if you don't know. If you're having trouble with your hair, flaxseed oil is the best option for that. Now, as far as as far as okay, man, as far as let's see, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, you know what, that thing is they're just gonna keep messing with that. I'm just gonna keep talking anyway. As far as your hair is concerned, right, you cannot be using those hair care products. Now, there are some products, some organic-based products out there that does not have these toxified chemicals in them. There is some out there that are like that, that you can use. For me, I just use baking soda. I wash up with it. I brush my teeth with it. I wash my hair with it. Everything. I even put it in my drinking water. I put that all in my drinking water. I need to start drinking some distilled water too, actually, and more alkaline water because, or at least get a filter for the tap water to put alkaline in it because if you don't know how toxified the tap water is, you would be disgusted to see the test that I have seen. It's wow. I may link a video too as well. In fact, I think I will. I think I definitely will. I'm gonna link a video as far as tests when it comes to alkaline. And there was these two guys that did a chemical induction based test, right? What they did was they did a chemical based test and they were testing several different water. But honestly, I could just tell you, look, the best water you can drink and get is this, at least from marketplace value that you can get. But they're never gonna distribute the real legitimate water that's out there that's actually 100% good for you. They're never gonna do that. They're keeping that for themselves. For now, the best water you can get is both distilled water and alkaline. The highest thing I can recommend you is alkaline. If you want to know what type of water it uses alkaline, I know for a fact that Fiji water uses this. You may be able to find some other water out there that has that as well. I always wondered if you were to mix both distilled and alkaline water together, what that would do actually. And then put a little bit. I don't even think you need to even put a little bit of baking soda in that. But if you're wondering, never buy the commercial-based baking sodas because they lace that shit with, and part of my language, but they lace that with aluminum. If you're not aware, they put metallic particles in that. That could be, I think like, what is that, Arm & Hammer? I think that's baking soda. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be right. But it's the commercial-based stuff that definitely has aluminum-based byproducts in it. You always want to go for the generic kind. Or maybe I may be wrong about that. The best thing to do, really, is to look at the ingredients. Look at the ingredients because they have to tell you if there's any byproducts like that in it. They have to tell you. If they don't, and it doesn't say it, and you put that, and you actually know your biology, and you actually start to do the research, you can actually report them and get someone very in big trouble for that. It's the same thing. Let's say like when they start, you know how they like to tamper if you're on a remote monitoring or remote manipulation. This is why biology is such a very, very key weapon when it comes to us fighting against these perpetrators. Now they're gonna lace if they're manipulating you into buying some type of food that's like meat based, right? Here's the thing. What you can do is don't eat it, but you can take a sample of that and you can film that yes, you have bought it directly from there. You brought it all the way from there to home. And then you put it underneath the microscope to see what it was. And you do state that you are under remote manipulation and remote monitoring. You put it underneath the microscope, Why are they, think about it, why are they selling food that has very suspicious looking organisms crawling all around it, that has high constant channels of radiation beaming from it? You gotta understand, the nano has an electrical magnetic current going through it itself. If you would look at it underneath the microscope, it would show itself off as lights. Lights that are invisible to the naked eye due to them being microscopic, but you see where I'm going with this. But at the same time, it has a current going through it. It doesn't make sense for something that was cooked to have an electrical magnetic current, now does it? That makes absolutely no sense for something like that to have something like that. So definitely be careful about that. If they are really enticing you to something and they got the gang stalkers perpetrating around there, don't, for your own safety, don't, because they will try to boost your influence as best you can. This is why when you're out and about, if you feel them doing that and you got to go shopping, just play something to interrupt that, like music. Music has a very good interruption value when it comes to the radiation active hearing that they use on you, right? We already know music has a very, very good destructive aspect of that. Even with the remote neural monitoring and manipulation, it has a very good disruption value to that. Now, if you haven't seen the formula that I made before, the formula that I made was orange peels and alkaline water or distilled water, doesn't matter which, and iodized sea salt. And what I did was I mixed that together, and I put a little bit of baking soda in there too, right? I put a little bit of baking soda in there, and I put it in a spray bottle or just some type of bottle or whatever, and I mixed it up, and I let the orange peels and the other ingredients saturate themselves into the water, right? Now, since these nano like to make fibers that connect to the brainstem and all that stuff, in order for it to send off the signal, which is our EEG signal, for them to be able to connect to it, they have to. This is why they have to make a web through the entire body's structural system. It's because it's it's literally beaming and like forming an antenna from what our frequencies are coming from to the outside. And that's what they'll do. They'll end up sending another frequency to try to catch that one that they're picking up off. And the whole entire time this is happening, they're piggybacking off the radiation that they're beaming on us. Two things I've realized that this happens, and they prey upon you having their smartphone on you at all times. What I've noticed when I did this twice. I did the decoy tactic because I was curious. Very risky, but I did it anyway. I threw my phone to the side, and I acted as if like I lost it when I really didn't. I knew for a fact what I did, but I did it without thinking about it. I knew what I was gonna do, but I couldn't do it while I was in active thinking. So I did it to where and wow, that whole side right there is cracked. I didn't even realize that was cracked. That's crazy. Anyway, I did it to where I was in a position to where they wouldn't be able to make sense out of what they were reading from the machine, right? So what I did was I threw the phone to the side because I was curious, did I have a chip or did I not have a chip? And the thing about this is, I'm still unsure about this, whether this darn thing is a chip or not, but it's a very unusual bump on the left top side, back side of my head. And if it was just a regular bump, it would have been gone a long time ago. It would have been gone, but it's still there. So I'm wondering, with a lot of stuff that's happened, I think that may have something to do with it. I could be wrong, but something this unusual that has, like for a bump or whatever, I believe this thing like feels very solid-like. It doesn't feel like anything natural. It feels like a foreign substance. It doesn't even feel like a chip from my skull, which I don't even think that's even what it is. And if you're wondering why I say that, it's because yes, I was very reckless when I was a kid. I'm not joking about that. I was doing all kinds of obnoxious stuff when I was a kid. Yeah. This thing could very well be a chip or a transmitter device. I don't know. I really don't know, but I do plan on eventually finding out. But as you know, they got the doctors, and most doctors out in the U.S. are working for them. Most, if not all, really. And some of them have the full view. But you got to understand, if you need to trace that back down. If you didn't have a chip, something or a transmitter in your body at some point, and you had some type of surgery done, and all of a sudden, bam, there's something like that happening, then it would make you wonder why. It would really make you wonder why. But yeah, I realized like I was actually out right when I did that. I was actually like the radiation was just off. It was just off, and I was able to outrun it for a bit. And they had sent a freaking scout to literally track and trace down where I was at, right? And each day would have to keep doing it because like I would just be dousing away from the radiation. It would just bam, it would just be gone. So maybe it is a chip, but maybe due to my obnoxiousness, I may have messed it up at some point. I don't know. Maybe I fried it or whatever. I don't know. I really, really don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Who knows? But wow. But other than that, how should I say? What else was it I wanted to go over? Because it wasn't just that. Shielding. I plan on trying to make myself a shield. There was a guy's channel that I've seen. If you haven't seen him, he mentions his channel of how he knows how to make shielding in the bottom of the comment section of the channel that Vulcan made the other day. Check that out for your own discretion to see what it's all about. Yeah. As far as dealing with the gang stalkers and stuff, here's what I believe is the best tactic. If you were to, if you didn't see my last video, and I did that as a demonstration to show you, I even show you some of the stuff I was being sensitized to as well. But the reason why I did that video is so people would understand. Like when you talk out, like your voice could be used to discredit you, basically. But if you use a video, let's say a video with a robotic voice, right? Robotic voice, and then you just play that out loud. That really doesn't count as any copyright or you using anybody else's voice, and it gets the message across as well. Just as long as you got permission from the developer to use said video. But most videos related to this subject, they would want you to do that anyway. So I mean that's good enough. I mean they wouldn't have made that if they didn't want to spread awareness. So you're basically, when you play that, you're basically are spreading awareness, which is why I'll always leave links to the channels of the content that I recommend to people. You know, I'll always do that. It gives credit to where it's due, and it actually helps promote the channels who are out there trying to strive and help us all out. You know. Anything that's test worthy, I don't recommend it on this channel whatsoever unless I've tested it out for myself and I've seen the results of said test. If it's BS, I don't even mention it. I don't even talk about it. And if I see someone mentioning it, I will count it out. Now, I was curious about Q-Wave, right? And that's Q-U-W-A-V-E. But here's the problem. I looked on YouTube, just about most, if not all vids I'm looking at, it doesn't seem like it's a legit person. It seems like there's mostly actors, and it's always the advertisement posted on the videos that they've done, right? Now, I've seen some other people actually use this stuff. I'm curious. The best place I could say to actually look for legitimate reviews off of this product, and they could have sent paid actors to even discredit that too. You never know. It's just as I said before, those who see me mention in the comments, there's been a lot of back and forth with that. And it's just it's really, really pricey, and I'm not even gonna joke about it. They want like $300 to $250 freaking dollars for this stuff, man, and to spend that kind of money for a scam, if it is a scam, I'm not gonna say it is. I'm not gonna say it isn't because I'm not sure, because I haven't tried it out for myself. But here's the best advice I can give you. In a situation like this, you gotta understand, and this is from my point of view. This is an organization that seeks to already discredit information to keep people from finding out ways to actually really help them out when it comes to this, especially as well as curing them of Magellans. So you got to really ask yourself, why on earth would they allow an organization to make actual shields from their own weapons? At least it just doesn't make sense. And the behaviorism behind that, it's very obvious to actually deter a behavior from an actor from a regular person. And it's very easy to tell when the person's behavior has been scripted. It's very obvious to tell. It is very obvious when it comes to that, because they gotta second guess themselves, second thinking themselves. It's not a type of way of speaking of them just speaking regularly. It's them trying to recall what they had read to read off to you on the video. So you got to be mindful of that type of behavior. I've seen a lot of that too. So at the same time, I'm not going to say Q-Wave doesn't work. I'm not going to say that it does. I'm just going to say that it's too damn expensive to really waste your money on that to even find out if it does or doesn't, And if you can find another TI who has it, a legit TI who has it, ask him if you could try it out for yourself, just to see the effects. And if it works, hey. If it does work, then hey, go for it. But if it's too expensive and out of your price range, then don't even bother with it. That's just my input on it, because something like that, to charge TIs like that, knowing that, and here's the deal, they are going out of their way to try to get you to lose your job. They're going out of their way to try to get you to lose your home. They're destroying your family relationships, destroying your intimate relationships, and the whole thing is systematically charged to destroy and discredit any type of guilt on their end. But you see, my tactics are to take away that covert card away from them. But you got to understand, as well as you're doing this, they're going to send people in your direction. And I've actually experienced this before. They thought I would fall for it, but I didn't. And I knew better, right? I knew better. They will send a person to pretend to be sentimental towards your targeting, right? And this is what I like to call the good cop, they're not cops, but the good perp, bad perp tactic that they'll use. Now, the bad perps are the ones who are going to do. They're more like your color advertisers, your color sensitized advertisers, your booty bandits, your fucking slanderers and all that type of stuff. It's mostly you're gonna deal with those, but the ones that they have on the side are the ones actually you gotta understand. They can hire these people to actually play it cool and act like they're on your side, and act like like I'm just gonna go over to the side, right? And this is exactly what this perp did. I'm on the bus, and the guy goes on there, and what he does is that he's talking on the phone with whoever, and the fact that he already admits that he has two phones, you just admitted the fact that you just admitted that you got two phones, he said, I didn't use this phone, I used the other phone. Perps use two phones because they're not allowed to use their personal phone for reasons that, first off, they're supposed to use a phone that's supposed to hide their identity. That doesn't have any of their social media accounts on it, that doesn't have their name on it, and the messages that they use are all encrypted. The message services that they use on that phone are all encrypted. But here's the problem with that. How much you want to bet that these perps are not professionals? They're just like every average person out there. Some of them most likely slipped up, effed up, and actually send a personal message or that reference their name somewhere out on that phone, or even may have made the mistake of logging into something that they weren't supposed to log into on that phone. That could be through a social media account. That could be through just about anything. But you better bet that a lot of the evidence of your targeting is going to be on those phones. I mean, a lot. Because they got to send that stuff and send it back But a lot of people don't realize that just because they delete it, that doesn't mean that it's gone. Oh no, buddy, you got to do a factory reset for that shit to be gone. So if you get a hold of a perp's phone, I'm telling you, keep that, keep it. And if you can get into that at all, like if you could download an app, then what you can do is use that app to actually dig for the photos that are the evidence out there, and it may be linked to your own targeting. They don't want me telling you this, but I'm just going to tell you this for your own safety, that if you manage to get a hold of something like that, because I'm telling you, I've heard the stories. I've heard the stories of other TIs of what they had to deal with, that they've been hounded just for the freaking, by either the FBI or the police or the fucking gang stalkers just to get it back. And it makes you wonder how, like, why would it be a person of in that status doing that? You know, it would make you wonder, like, why would a person like that be doing that? You know, it's very, very, very curious about that. But you got to understand, I believe that they got to send these. I believe what they'll do is they'll send this evidence towards whatever decryption application that they're using, and then it gets distributed, and maybe they'll delete it. But they'll also send this evidence towards their personal phone as well. If you're not aware, they live stream this stuff. They really do. They torture and they haunt. They literally fucking haunt these. I like to say haunt because at this point, that's basically what it is. It's like 24/7 haunting at this point. And what they will do is, and if you're not aware, that Elevator is one of our perps. He just went out there to go talk to one of his handlers. If you're not aware, it could be a he, could be a she. I don't know. It's like it's always just a mixture of both men and females when it comes to perps. So basically, yeah, if you get a hold of a perp's phone, just do that, but you got to make sure you actually can get in the damn thing. If you get in there, get an application like that, go ahead and use that, and you'll be able to get all the evidence out there. Maybe, most likely, not even just for yourself, but also for other TIs as well, to actually show what they've been doing this whole time, you know? But that's if you get that lucky. Some people have gotten that lucky and got a hold of a phone, but they just don't know the technical side of it, to how to really get the evidence. There are other ways too. There are. Besides that, what you can do is, as far as the protection, because like it's just as I stated in my older vids, the main issue with a lot of the hacking is that, first off, it's your phone number. They could have your phone number locked in, but they're gonna keep doing that anyway. They're gonna find out what your phone number is anyway. That's why I recommended the Wi-Fi phone number, talk tone, because you could just burn that number up, and then you don't even have to have that number linked to any accounts. Well, actually you do, but I wouldn't recommend having the account on the phone itself. Like, have it on a tablet or something, or, you know, just have it on that or something like that, or at least something else that you can just log into. Not having it tracked on your phone, not having it tracked on the other device. Just have it to where you just log in and change that. But you see, the benefit of talk tone is that you can just burn up the number and switch it. Just like that. You don't even have to pay a fee to do it. It's free. It's free. You can just burn the number up if it gets compromised and switch to a whole new one. And I wouldn't recommend anybody to link this that number to a personalized email. Keep your personalized stuff linked to a whole nother email that you do not have saved on your phone, that you just have it completely separated so they won't find it and they won't eavesdrop on it. Now, if you want to know how to do this, use DuckDuckGo. Use DuckDuckGo, and then, because I've noticed that, like, even if you go to the freaking library, and I've seen this happen several times, they would literally walk up to the freaking receptionist in the front area of the fucking library talking about some, hey, we need this person's search history. We need this person's search history. And these people are not even FBI. These are some of these people that did this. I think the first person that did it was an FBI agent. I think so. I could be wrong. But the next dude I seen that pulled a stunt like that was just an average day citizen. I'm like, what the fuck? It was crazy. Like, the bastard just walked right up there and just asked. I'm like, So what if my personal information? So if I get proof that they're basically are doing that, and I go through some personal information, I could technically sue them for distributing that personal information. Technically, but I would need a recording of the conversation as proof. This is why TIs need to team together, because they can't do as much if TIs team up. They can't. They can't because first off, a TI can pose as another TI's witness. A TI can look out for another TI when they're out and about out there in the field. And then as far as the home is concerned, you know how they do a lot of tampering. So a TI can be on the lookout at the home while the other TI is out either working or going grocery shopping, what have you, right? And then that one comes by, they could just do that in shifts. Like I go out, handle my business, you go out, handle your business, and one of them stays behind and just holds the fort down. Better if three, really. 3 is the best option for TIs. If you ask me, that's the best amount you could have, because that way you could have someone always be maintaining and holding the fort down the entire time. But the problem is that the people are hiring people to pose as TIs for deflective purposes, and they are hiring people to play the nice guy or the nice girl act to infiltrate your defenses. That's the problem. That's the main problem with that. I so much definitely want to. I really, really, really want to contact my family when it comes to this to let them know. But you need to understand about the situation why I haven't done that yet. And this is the 100% true of what happened. When I went over to my aunt's place after I had a mental breakdown, right, at my job, and it was just so much stress, I ended up saying, you know what, this stuff was just getting too out of hand. I said, screw it, I'm leaving. I went over to my aunt's place. I called them up. My cousin drove me up trying to get me to go back to my apartment. I said, no, just take me to my aunt's place, right? Just take me to there. Now, as soon as I get up there, right? As soon as I'm there, weird stuff starts to happen. First off, I'm being told that there's a bed already ready, right, for me to lay down on. That's one weird thing, because I remember there wasn't even a bed in there at first. I'm being told to just lay in on a specific side of the bed. Coincidentally, that specific side is lined up with the window of all things. It's one thing that's weird. There was a lot of things that they were trying to give me. I didn't really think much of it. The other thing was the charger. I noticed that one of my chargers came up missing, and it got snatched. I seen my cousin do this. No joke. I literally witnessed him do that in front of me. No joke. I've seen this happen. And the other thing I started to realize is that now, understand the same charger that got snatched just so happened to end up in my closet at home. And I know I didn't have it because by the time I got back from my aunt's place, I had checked and I didn't have it. There's no way it would have left my jacket when I searched for it, and then all miraculously it shows up here. Now, if you didn't hear what I mentioned before, they like to fill your cords with malware, or they'll swap it out with the cord just filled with malware. But the fact that they can put this stuff on cords, I think they can just immediately boot that stuff up. So you gotta be also be mindful of your outlets. I've caught something trying to be booted up to my phone a while ago. I've already got it marked down, so I know exactly which one it is. If I catch it again, I'm gonna make sure I get it on film. Every time I charge a device, I want to make sure I always keep a camera fixed on it at least keep my body cam fixed on it. That has a lot of memory on it, by the way. Now, at least now it does. I want to make sure I keep that fixated on it, so that if anything happens to that phone, then I'll have my evidence. But yeah, that alone was suspicious. If you have older cords in your home that you haven't used in a while and you just dug out, throw them out, cut them up and throw them away. Cut them up and throw them away. Get new chargers, because and be careful where you get your chargers from as well. Because I'm telling you, they've gone up and beyond to really get at me when it comes to this mess. They've gone as far as to even show their incrimination in front of me And it was the one time I didn't have my dang on body cam on me, or I had it, but I just didn't have it, on to where it could actually show. They've gotten so desperate, man. They've gotten so desperate that they really do use kids as shields. Not just shields, but they use them as far as the trafficking for their crimes too. Fucked up thing about this is that these are parents doing this. It really makes you wonder, like, what in the heck is going through the mindset of that person for them to literally do that. If you haven't heard one of our previous videos, I was talking about Gavin Long, who was also a TI who went the vigilante route and took out a couple of cops. But here's the problem. I'll say it again too. Here's the problem with that. I've said it in my last video, but I'll say it once more. You can go and do that, but well, actually, no, I wouldn't. No, I take that back. No. If you were to do that, you gotta understand they could just replace those guys. They can replace whoever you just took out, just like that, easily. And it doesn't make the cause of what all TIs are trying to do look any better than. If anything, it gives them more ammunition to try to use against us when we go that route. And if anything, they want us to do that because then that gives them an undoubtable excuse to take us out. That gives them the go ahead to do it, And that's the main thing about it. They don't want to just up. They're not just gonna up and just start killing people out on the streets. Although I can't remember what video this was. I can't remember where or when it was. But it was all over the news. It was all over the media, and what it was is it was this teenage female, right? This teenage African American female, and she was at this apartment partying around with these other dudes, right? And something really weird was going on. And all of a sudden, she just disappeared. There was no body, and if you look at the camera feeds, the structures will show that she was going downstairs or whatever, but she was very disoriented looking, right? She was very disoriented looking, and she was walking into the freezer section of the apartment complex, right? If you don't know, now the people who aren't aware of what remote neural monitoring is or remote manipulation is, that girl, she was controlled. She was controlled, and most likely, she ended up getting a really bad situation when it comes to this organization. She got controlled, and what most likely happened is that she ended up in the ring of human trafficking. That's what that stuff is. And this got out. That's literally clear evidence that she was being mind controlled. Understand that her mother supported this. Not just her mother, but the people she was hanging around with. That's why I don't hang around certain people, man, because you can't trust them. There are some really, really effed up people out here, and you gotta ask yourself, for someone to go out and do that. But also, I'm getting off a track. I'm getting way off a track. Anyway, after the situation over at my aunt's house, like the odd looking Charger that was given with the big looking one, I even got a confirmation from another TI, and he told me himself that was actually that one actually puts malware, a type of virus, on your phone and locks it on. And the only way to get it off is if you do a root system thing on your phone, where you got to do that through a computer. That's the only way to get it off. So I eventually abandoned that device. It pissed them off too. Let me tell you, that really pissed them off because a freaking perk showed up out of nowhere just screaming. But here's the thing, that's also proof towards harassment. And they're supposed to act like you're not being harassed. So what would they say if someone is caught doing that? And it's not just your average time this is happening, but it's happening like constantly, almost everywhere you're going. You see, that's evidence towards community-based harassment, because it's not in just one location; it's in multiple locations by different people. That's proof that it's the community harassing you, not just a set group of people. And wow. Other than that, so after that, my aunt is constantly trying to get me to get my hair cut, right? Which I find also kind of weird. So I think maybe extended hair growth may have something to do with when it comes to blocking this stuff. I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I know that the nano's been known to try to really get rid of people's hair. It's been known to do that, but the best way to kill that stuff off is baking soda. But again, I don't know. I really don't know. I've seen other people have this, and it's very, very odd. So, other than that, right? Other than that, as far as, like I said, as far as hair growth, just get flaxseed oil and you're good. Just get that. It really helps boost the hair growth, and that'll be definitely good for that. But okay, so I'm after that, and the next morning comes up, right? I'm riding in the car with my cousin, right? And I'm thinking we're just going to a regular barbershop. No, we go to this dude. We go to some dude he knows, like in the hood. Like this dude was in a really bad looking who's living in a really bad looking neighborhood, right? A really, really bad looking neighborhood. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a few minutes. I didn't even think much of it, but I was very suspicious. And I think what happened to that girl was about to fucking happen to me. But I was like, I was too aware at the time, so I knew. Well, what it was when I realized that they were taking a little bit, like it just didn't make any sense. We were just sitting there, and for about a good, like it was going on to like damn near like 15 to 16 to 17 to 18 minutes. And it wasn't until I said, you know what, I just want to go, that the guy comes out of the damn house. It wasn't until then that that dude came out of the fucking house. Mind you, this man is wearing red of all colors. He's wearing red of all colors, right? Blood sacrifice, right? That's what the meaning for that is. And blue was for war. So I'm being taken to this guy's house in the middle of a hood. The dude who lives in that fucking house, who was supposed to be the damn barber, is wearing red. And he was already walking outside the house and walked back up the stairs. And I told my cousin, you know what, nah, man, just take me to a regular shop. Out of all the shops he takes me to, he was told to take me to this specific one. And what he took me to was a barbershop that actually not only requires you to put your fucking credentials in the damn system, but also takes a photograph of you when you go in there. It wasn't no low-key type of barbershop. It was a specific one to key in my looks and my credentials when and after I got my haircut. He was told by them to do this. And mind you, before I even got to the barbershop, before I did, there was a group of dudes in a fucking beige-looking vehicle towards my right-hand side. They were all grouped up in there. I think I was going to be murdered that day. If I hadn't caught on to that, I believe I was going to be killed. No joke. No joke about it. I think that's exactly what that was. But I caught on to it, and they didn't want me freaking out in the middle of the, in the middle of the open to actually create a scene, so they went ahead and just got me the fuck up out of there. But until this day, you got to understand, that's why I find it very hard to really communicate with my family now when it comes down to that. Because it makes me wonder, like, how long I've really been influencing on it. And the fact that them putting this stuff in that rainwater, that means everybody's been manipulated since day one. Everyone. It doesn't matter what you have done if you're submitted under a state of hypnosis. Because first off, what you're doing may not be what you think you're doing is your own, but in reality, it's the program of something else from a very, very sinister organization. I believe people have levels to when it comes to resistance to this, right? When it comes to resistance to this, but it's only a certain amount. The most people with the lowest resistance are the ones who are most likely up in, not all, but most who are up in jail, who are like your really serious criminals from assaults, from theft, and all that type of stuff. They're the ones who are the most vulnerable to this because they've already effed up. But you got a few who just got set up. A few, if not most, have got set up. So it's definitely levels of natural resistance to this. As far as mental state is what I believe. Other than that, they don't even want to mess with the meter anymore. That is funny. Other than that, how should I say? Was there anything else I needed to go over? Because other than that, like that, like I love my family, but that right there, that alone Not to mention, something very unusual happened. Like my family, I can just recall this a little bit, but I know for a fact my family wasn't very segregated. But it's like as time progressed, it's like we became segregated to where like we just went off and did our own thing. It happened to me. It happened to my mom. It happened to my brother. It happened to my sister. And it was crazy. It just didn't. It just didn't seem natural like us, and I think that was also a form of manipulation. I believe that was being done behind the scenes when we didn't realize what was going on. But there's no. I mean, look at the way this technology is. There's no way we would have known. There's no way. And yeah, I think my sisters may have something like may have it just as worse as I got it because she doesn't want to be in contact with anybody. She just is not, and it really makes me wonder why. And then seeing as what I ended up being under makes a lot of sense. Maybe she's under the same thing. And man, dude, this organization is not above using kids for their own obligations. Let me tell you, they are not beneath that at all. They are not beneath it whatsoever. And this is sick because the same parents who are parents to these kids are the ones doing it, you know? And it really, and it's like they get this, it's a very, very selfish mentality, but you gotta understand, it's because of that behavior as to why I'm saying that people were being programmed since day one. Their own judgment, their own impulses, and their own actions are already being programmed and influenced in a direction to where they would just follow these bastards' orders without a second thought. You know, they're saying, "Oh," and they'll literally use an excuse, but they don't understand that they already are being controlled. I believe most, if not all, perps are probably being controlled, and only a short few who have really done like a heck of a lot of work for this criminalized organization end up in some type of make-believe free state is what I like to call it, because you gotta understand what can be given can be taken away. And I don't believe that they're gonna like just leave those people with their free will even after all of this is done. I don't believe that whatsoever. But they're stupid enough to believe, or actually gullible enough to actually buy into that. And that's just it. They thought I was gonna be gullible enough to buy it because they sent a freaking a perp on PSN. No joke. They sent, as I stated before. I don't know if I talked about this before or even uploaded this conversation, but before my targeting got as bad as it is, they sent a perp on PSN in front of both me and the people who I was associating with on there, right? And the dude said some really, really dark shit, like some really dark stuff about how like and I don't know. Maybe he was maybe he was being paid off to set me up. I don't know. But it kind of sounded like that. But here's the thing: there are witnesses to that, of what he's saying, and that's really effed up. I'm like, dude, I knew this guy was sketchy from the moment I met him because the way he was acting and the way he was talking was too similar to what my perps were doing. And I just said, look, man, I don't mind being in the same party session with you, but you need to lay off that weird shit. You really got to lay off of that. So we did, and out of the blue, he really talks about some really effed up stuff. I'm not even going to mention what it is, because I'd rather not even go back into that. But, yeah, I honestly believe the guy was definitely setting me up. But you got to understand, they are not beneath from using kids for their organization. They are not beneath that. I've seen enough to know that, man. And like it's crazy because these kids have no idea what they're being used for. They're too damn young. They're naive as hell, man. They have no idea what's going on out there. And there's no telling who or what type of future these bastards are gonna sell them into. It's like, and it's so crazy, you know, because it's like they will give them the impression, yeah, they're this, and this, but it's bullshit because it's like they've already got your future planned the fuck out. It's bullshit because they've already got it planned out, but they're not gonna tell you because you're being subconsciously controlled into it, and you're not even aware. It's a really effed up state of affairs when it comes down to this demonic organization, man. It really is. It really truly is. Not to mention, there was this dude, right? There was this dude who I caught him on film too, but he spit. Let me tell you, I think this was also another setup because I caught him on film and he took the F off. He took off immediately as soon as I popped the camera out. I'm sitting at a bus stop and he pulls up in his dark looking vehicle. It was a really funny looking Asian guy or like Asian American / guy. I don't know. And, he pulls up out of nowhere. I don't even know who this guy is. He pulls up in this dark-looking SUV-like vehicle towards the bus stop, right? I'm minding my business, not bothering nobody. And lucky for me, I don't even think I had my phone out at the time, but I did pull my phone out. And he pulls up, he just starts yelling out some, hey, literally, and you've seen in my previous videos that it was a guy trying to get my attention the same way, but it wasn't in this exact same vernacular or in his exact same situation. Now, he's in the car, a dark looking car. There's a kid sitting in the passenger seat, right? So I don't know who the hell these people are. I don't know. And he's just constantly trying to get my attention. So I'm like, you know what? I know I'm being targeted. I pull out the phone. I started recording, right? I started recording just to get my evidence because I don't know who this person is. They pulled up out of nowhere. As soon as I got that bastard on film, he doused the hell off. Now, one thing I will definitely, I want to warn people about because it's no joke that they would try to use that as a shield. And these perpetrators will try to, flip the script trying to say, oh, well, like you're filming my kids. That's bullshit. You're a damn stalker, and what you're doing is you're using your kids as a shield. So that you can have that excuse to get away with the crap that you're doing. You're full of shit. You're full of shit, and you know you're full of shit, and you're a scumbag for even using those kids for your dirty ass tactics. You're a damn scumbag for that. They all are. I don't know what's gonna happen for the next generation, but I'm gonna do the best I can to prevent them from being used as cattle for this disgusting organization. Because honestly, at this point, man, I'm afraid that they're not even gonna know what they're even getting themselves in, what they're being forced. I can't even say getting themselves into because at this point they're being forced. They don't even know what they're being forced into when it comes to this, and it's gonna be a huge situation of brainwashing if we don't stop this. But so far lately, it's been a lot of that, It's been a lot of that tactics that when they're just using the kids, they'll just put them out there. So I think they're trying to, like, push off the narrative on some other stuff. And I'm like, I'm already being systematically stalked. I've already shown my evidence of this. And for them to use this tactic, it just proves that they're using kids. It proves that they use kids for this shit, man. It's crazy. But you know something? If the footage is very incriminating to them on their end as far as what they're doing, now what I would do is if they're speaking directly to me, if they're talking directly to me, what I would do is I have the audio recording on 24/7, by the way, whenever I'm out and about and taking care of my business. So I got that one out and on when it comes to this. So if they were to approach me like that, if they were to say anything, I got backup that shows that they were the first ones trying to, communicate to me first. After that, I get the phone out if they are trying to directly communicate to me, right? Then I get the phone, and then I would record the conversation as far as video for my own safety. So if they try to flip the script trying to say, oh, well, this and this and this happened, I could say, bullshit, you're a liar, and I got the evidence to back my claim up. Now, if they just walking around and they got the kids with them, I don't even bother even paying attention to them. I don't even bother even mindful of them. And the reason why I say this is because they literally strategically plant themselves in my line of vision when they do this. They do that just so I would see them. But do I even care? No, I just go on about my business. And in fact, I think I may be able to find it if I can. What it was is I was leaving out, right? Let me see if I can find my audio recorder because I got that down as far as evidence as well. What the guy did, he just shows up out of nowhere on my left side in the middle of traffic, and why do I even have this thing on? He shows up out of the middle of nowhere, right? And then what he does, he just shouts out like crazy. I'm like, you see, this is why I have the audio recorder. I got the audio recorder because I'm going to have proof that it was them who approached me, not me who approached them. It was them who talked to me, not me who talked to them. And you see, that's how you handle that situation. They wanted to where it looks like they were just minding their own business, and it was you who approached them. And then as soon as you start to talk about that, as soon as you start to bring that to the attention as far as your target is concerned, and you go out publicly with it, they want to try to use that to discredit you, trying to say, oh, well, no, we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything. It's you that's doing something. But meanwhile, and you see, this is, whenever I leave immediately, that's why I have my body cam on. I have some type of footage on exactly when I'm leaving and where I'm coming from, And I don't know these damn people. I really don't. So there's no way. Hang on. See if this one is it.
Today I need to go get some verification as far as my W-2s.
No, that was from the other day.
Alright, it is January 20th, 2020.
This one might be it.
They can use that as an excuse for their, the stuff of what they've been saying so far as the
I was outside when that got recorded.
smear campaigns that they got going on. Boy, I believe I pissed them off a lot this week, and I'm glad. I basically stated exactly what was going to happen, right, before I even got on the bus. And precisely what happened is precisely as I described it. As soon as I got on the bus, that's precisely what they did. And I finally was able to get that mofo up on the tip. I was finally able to get it there. But I'm telling you, they did not upload it. They didn't. They really didn't. Even now, I'm being hit with this button trying to stop it.
Yeah, this must be it.
I believe at some point in time, I actually did see a form of mind control a long time ago, a long while ago, and
Understand, me panning is while I'm walking around being hit with the radiation.
organization had it out for me for a while. I just never knew how bad it was until the day of my awakening. It's not easy walking with being hit with this. But I try to manage. Man, I tell you though, this is just. I'm glad I got that. Man, I tell you though, this is just.
You heard that, right? That guy in the background was the guy shouting at me from his truck. The truck, I don't know if I even got a license plate of that, but the truck was white looking. And it had a lot of unusual things, like a bracket towards the back of it. Yeah, I guess I kind of lost my placement on there. I'm not even gonna bother playing it. I played it twice, just for you to hear it though. That's how I catch my evidence. Whenever I'm on and about, I don't say anything unnecessary. I don't talk to people who I don't have any business with. If I'm going to go buy something, then I'm going to go buy something. If I'm going to go buy myself some type of video game, some type of I don't know, some type of clothing of any kind or something like that. Also about clothing, don't ever buy clothing from Walmart. They spray that stuff down with RFID fluid if you're not aware. And this fluid is invisible, but if you put it under a, I believe it's a ultraviolet light, then you'll be able to see it. And yeah, they don't tell a lot of people about that. They don't. They really don't. But again, don't buy no clothing from Walmart. That's like Perp Central there. You can get some electronics from there. You could, but that's the problem. Like once you shop there, I really wouldn't recommend getting electronics from there, because they could literally automatically have their shit laced and just changed automatically by the time you go up there. But here's what really bugs me though. Out of their desperate attempt to sabotage you, the shit that they would like do stuff to, they don't want to be busted when it comes to this, right? They don't. They really don't. So what's from stopping an average everyday citizen from purchasing something that they were intended for you to purchase? And they're not gonna stop them from like just like the chicken stuff that I mentioned before, how they laced it with nano. What's from stopping somebody else from eating that? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. So I question a lot of stuff that happened in the past that could have exposed anybody to this. You know, I believe that just about every fast food restaurant got a little something stashed behind the kitchen counter and shit. When it has nano all over it. And they're told to put this on the food when a potential target is showing up. What if the target decides not to get that and they actually confuse the situation? And it's already after that they're doing this to us targets too. I'm not saying that's not fucked up. I'm just saying this could literally get laced out to just about anybody. If it's not already, which it really actually is going out to everybody. But what I'm talking about is the active nano. Not the passive nano, the active. The passive nano is stuff that they got in the Magellan buffers. The active nano is the stuff that they lace in your food directly. That's pretty much going to be it for this video. Let me see how many minutes I hit here. Oh wow, I hit a whole dang on hour. But I'm actually glad I did. It's about time I do an hour-long video. I will upload this soon. Maybe today, maybe some other day, I don't know. Primarily because I got to keep the content coming up for the channel as far as purposes, so, Anyway, this is MMTI Strategy Guide. Remember, stay safe, stay strong. It is dangerous out there. And remember, the Most High and Yahweh is watching over all of us. And no matter what anybody says, whether positive or negative, those are the only two witnesses in life that you need. Those are the only two. With that said, I'm over and out.